Hey guys, we are reviewing Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 4. I would like to apologize for having mic issues. I'm trying to do a voiceover and I'm trying to remember everything on top of my head as best as I can. Okay, so bear with me. So Britt and Angela go on a walk and they start discussing their family drama. Angela opens up to Britt about how her mom doesn't really get along with Charles, like how he did in the beginning. And allegedly, Charles has he cheated on Angela and that's how he has the side baby. So I think that the issue isn't with cleaning, the excuse she gave. I think the issue is that Charles was out there cheating. And you know how your family get when a man is cheating on you. Family, we don't like that. So I think that's the real issue. And then Britt starts talking about her sister, her drama that she has with her. And then they discuss Shamia and Kenya and how they need to fix those issues, But as you could see, Britt, she just so pressed when it comes to Kenya. Unlike Angela was really trying to figure out a way of how she can resolve her problem with Shamia. So you see the maturity right there. Okay, next scene is Portia is meeting up with her team so she can expand her Pampered by Portia brand because she wants to be the next Black Martha Stewart. Okay, she wants to be a billionaire, she says. Okay, so let's give it up to Portia for trying to expand her brand. And then the next scene, we have Ralph and Drew. Ralph is outside playing sports with his kids. And it's good to see Ralph, doing his dad thing, So we'll give him his little credit there. I didn't even know that they could talk outside of the house. They got all they little issues going on with their divorce. And Ralph is claiming that he only wants 50% of custody, but it just sounds like BS. Ralph, I don't think has anywhere to go. That's why Ralph is living in that basement, okay? Living his best life. But the basement is fire. I like the basement. I ain't got no problem with it. Okay. And then Kenya and Kelly meet up at Kenya's new hair care, her new spa. And Kenya's spa is so beautiful. Okay. Kelly shows up with a bodyguard and Kenya's like, what is going on? But Kelly had to put a restraining order out on her ex-husband. So that's why she shows up with a bodyguard. They start talking about that drama. Then they start talking about the business and, Kenya gets a little vulnerable. She gets a little emotional, regarding her business and all the money she has to put into her business, and it was good to see Kenya kind of get a little emotional. We haven't seen that side of her in a long time. Kenya's, big balls, tough energy. So it was good to see her break down a little bit and Kelly comfort her. And, you got to invest money. You got to put it all in and then to come back. Okay. So Kenya got a good thing going at that spa, and I hope she get all her 400,000 back and more. Okay. So then the next scene, we see Drew meet up. Well, Britt meets up with her older sister, and they start talking about their issue. But basically, it seems like Britt's older sister is jealous of her relationship, or maybe Britt's husband is too needy. I got jealousy vibe, that's the vibe I got. So I'm going to leave it at that. And then Drew and Dennis, they meet up at the studio and, they start talking about the drama with her and Portia. And he's telling her, like, no, she's telling him like, hey, I thought you solved that issue. I thought y'all, we ain't gonna have no drama, whatever. But I love when he said that Portia, when he was worried about Portia was out in Africa or whatever eating fufu. That was hilarious to me. Okay. And then Angela has her dinner party, and that dinner party was spicy. Okay. And then they said everybody was like, oh, it's in the hood, so that was funny. And Kelly, she comes in with the drama. No, first Kenya come in with like a green turquoise dress, okay, when the invitation clearly said black attire. So that was funny. She came in, like, I'm that girl. Everybody looked nice, but I think Shamia looked the best to me. So Kelly comes in, she was thanking everybody for attending the fundraiser and, making purchases and stuff. And then she was like, everybody didn't buy anything. And she confronted Drew. I mean, she put Drew on the spot. She called her out. I was like, damn, like, Kelly don't play no games. I'm really starting to like her. I appreciate the drama with her. Okay, she calls it out. Maybe that's the Pisces in her, okay? And then Shamia apologizes to Angela, which is good. She brought an olive branch, literally an olive branch. So they squashed their beef. And then Shamia tells the girl she's been working on some music. She wants to play her new track. And Portia's just steadily trying to shade her. It was sad to see. Like, you literally see Portia just acting like a hater, telling this girl this is not her song, that she sounds like Drew. I didn't like that scene. I didn't like that scene at all. And then we got Britt. She starts off with Kenya, picking on Kenya, talking about she didn't give her a real hug, just drama. Then they start asking questions. They did like some game or whatever. And majority of the questions, Kenya was getting. So it was crazy, but I thought it was a good episode. It got real spicy at the end. And next week is going to be maybe the last episode for Kenya. I'm not sure. But before that, Britt was literally talking shit. Britt was the bully to me. She's up here talking about weapons and what she would do and call her husband, and she throwing all kind of shade. She talking big and bad. I mean, she is really pressed on Kenya. It's given obsessed. It's given super obsessed. And I did not like that. And I never seen Kenya just kind of like, she became quiet. I never seen Kenya get quiet. You know how Kenya gets into it with everybody. We didn't see Kenya through the years get into it with everybody. And she ain't never back there. And Kenya was like, man, I'm still in shock. But Britt was trying to act like she was about that life, and she talking shit, and her husband pulls up with his goofy looking ass. I mean, that scene was wild. Do you hear me? I didn't like that at all. But next week is episode 5. We get to see this infamous episode, and baby, I cannot wait. Okay, I cannot wait to see this episode, to see how everything turns out. I hate to see hopefully this isn't Kenya's last episode, but we're hearing that it is. I don't know, but I don't feel they should have took away her peach, but she was wrong. You shouldn't have showed, that porn or whatever the hell I mean, come on, Kenya. You need all your coin right now, especially all the money that you invested into your hair spa. So, man, and I'm wondering how the episodes are going to go after Kenya leave. But I'm assuming this is when we start to see Phaedra, because Phaedra has not come in yet. And Cynthia wasn't in this episode tonight, so I'm assuming we'll see her next week, of course. But this was a decent episode. I'll give it an 8. I'm not going to give it a 10. I ain't seen a 10 yet, but I'll give it an 8. But make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Check out my YouTube, okay, at Wifey Vibes or D Loves Vibes. And have a good night. Peace.